Welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to look at identifying data quality issues with our files. So again, what I have done is I have created a new script and called it as 11_data quality checks. And this is a script we are going to use to identify data quality issues. The column that we want to look at is total amount. That is within our trip data. Let's assume that we need the total amount for some of the analysis that you're going to do and some of the reporting needs as well. So we need to ensure that the quality of total amount column is as we expected. Otherwise, we will have to look at going back to the supplier or look at collecting the data ourselves before that's being used. As you know, we have got the data in 3 different formats, which is the CSV, Parquet, and Delta. And for the purposes of this lesson, let's use the Parquet data. So I'm coming into the Parquet query and I'm going to just copy the select statement so we can just use it in our script here, and let's run this as it is, and then let's look at the total amount column. So let me scroll across to the right. And as you can see here, the total amount field looks okay here. And this is the one we want to analyze, and we are only seeing the top 100 records, but we want to look at a bit more data and make sure everything is okay. Just so things work quickly, I'm just looking at the month 01, but you may want to look at the entire file if you're interested, but I'm going to just use the month one so that I'll run quickly and I can take you through the lesson quickly as well. Let's start with a few basic checks. The text I would like to do is to look at the minimum value of the total amount and maximum value of the total amount and probably the average as well, just to make sure that everything looks okay. And also we want to look at whether there are any nulls in the data because we wouldn't want to see nulls within total amount. Let's copy the select statement and then make those changes so again, you can use the aggregate function. So I'm going to use the min first and then I'll go to the others. So what I have done here is I'm looking for the minimum of total amount, maximum, a total amount, and the average of total amount. And then I've done a count one, which will give us the total number of records within this partition here. And then I've done a count of total amount that will give us the total number of records within this partitions which have got the total amount populated. So if you had any nulls, they'll be excluded from this one. So if there are no nulls, the record count coming from this one and this one has to be equal. And let's run this through and see what comes up. So that's what we got here. So we got a minimum total amount, which is minus 210, which doesn't look right. So we'll have to investigate that. There are some issues with that, and the max total amount seemed to be 753, which is okay, I guess within New York, and the average is $18, which seems okay as well. And the total number of records is 447,000, which is equal to the other count we got for the not null records. So there are no null columns. So everything is populated, which is great. But what we got here is we got some negative values within the total amount field, and that goes all the way up to $210. Let's see why that's the case. In order to do that, I'm going to just copy the select statement here, and then I'm going to look for some samples so that we can see whether that makes any sense. So I'm going to just do a filter on total amount, less than 0. And let me run this through. And let's drag it up so we can see more data. And as you can see here, we got a lot of total amounts which are negative values. So this one is also negative value and the others are a few dollars to hit in that. And we need to look for some indicators as to why that would be the case. Let me start from the left. The flag is the end for all of them. That doesn't make any difference. A red code seems to be between 1 and 5 and the others all look okay. But the things which are of interest to us is payment type and potentially trip type. But I think trip type is only the values 1 and 2. So we got both combinations here, so we could ignore that. But payment type is the one which we probably want to look at because all of these have got the payment type of 3 and 4 that are no at the values here. So let's see what payment type 3 and 4 means. So as you know, we got the Explorer payment type script here. So let's go to that and then we can run the select statement here to see what they mean, because we'll get some description from that. Okay. So that's brilliant. So we have got the payment type 3, which is a no charge. I'm not entirely sure why there is no charge, but number 4 is interesting. That's a dispute. So they've done refunds on these ones. I'm guessing the no charge ones are probably some kind of credit for previous journeys or something similar. I'm not sure, but it could be something like that. And the disputes are the ones where they've refunded some amount as well. So no wonder we are seeing negative values, because these are refunds from the taxi company to individuals. Let's not stop here, because our theory is based on just 100 records. We want to make sure that our theory holds true and all of the red cards are payment type 3 and 4. So let's make a small change to this script and let's look at the payment type and count based on the payment type. And as you can see here, the vast majority of the data is type 3 and 4, which is in line with our theory. We got 3 records with type 2. Let me switch back to the payment type table, and type 2 is cash. So that's not explained very well, but it's only a very small amount of data. So we can ignore that and we can exclude them from any processing if we wanted to. But this has highlighted another issue. As you can see here, we got data with null values as well. And if you can see, we're only looking at the total amount less than 0. So the null payment types may exist within the rest of the data as well. So let me comment the where clause and then run it through, and that'll scan the entire 440,000 records. And as you can see, it's about 25% of the records have got payment type as null. So we do have a data quality issue here in terms of payment type as well. So if payment type is one of the fields we are going to use for our processing, we need to be careful there. If you remember from looking at the payment type, there is a type called 5 which is unknown. So we could in theory map all of those to number 5. So when we load this data, when we process this data, we can turn all the nulls into 5 so that actually they come out as unknown as well, because we do not know whether that's actually a cash transaction or a credit card transaction. So this is how you can identify data quality issues, and depending on the needs in terms of reporting and things like that, our machine learning models, for example, if you wanted to use that data, you would massage the data to make it suit the needs. For example, if I am reporting from this data, I would turn the payment type into 5 so that they get reported as unknowns, because we've got no idea of why the columns are being populated with null rather than number 5 or any other values. Similarly, if you are running a machine learning model, for example, against this data to do some predictions, you may want to drop the negative values because that could alter the behavior of your model. So the decisions will have to be done based on the needs. But I just wanted to show you how to identify data quality issues within our data here. So that's the end of this session. I'll see you in the next one.